before we move on and start doing challenges and looking at new and improved and more advanced things, like I said, I just want to take a step back and discuss this callback in a little bit more detail. Remember, don't get intimidated. A callback is just a function that is called after something else has happened. That's all that a callback function is. And we know the first argument to the add event listener method was the event that we want to listen out for example, an on-click event. The second argument was the event handler, which in our case we know is a callback function. This callback function will automatically be executed when the event fires. Remember, the definition of a callback is a function that's called after something has happened. Well, the something in our case is that event firing. And what's really cool about this specific callback when we use the add event listener method is we get a lot of data about that event automatically, which can be really, really useful. Well, what kind of information do we get back? Things like the target, where the event occurred, the type of event that occurred, etc., etc. Instead of just looking at words on screen, let's jump to Visual Studio Code. Let's quickly code up a callback and let's see what is actually returned to us. Let's see this in action. Alright, let's see this callback function in action. Very, very simply, I've started here with a blank index.html file. Let's code up a very quick event listener and let's see what is actually thrown back to us in this callback. All I want to do is set up a very simple HTML page. Within the body, let's just have an h1 tag. And the heading can just be callbacks are awesome. There we go. That's all I want our HTML to contain. And let's just add an event click listener onto this h1 tag. And let's see what's thrown back to us. So of course, we need to add our script here. The first step is, of course, to grab that h1 tag. So let's define h1 as documents and let's use a query selector. And let's grab our h1. The next thing we want to do is we want to attach this add event listener method onto this h1 element. So we start by accessing our h1 element and automatically, remember those APIs I was talking about? It automatically has this add event listener method available to us straight out of the box on this element. Very, very cool. Remember, it takes two arguments. The first argument is the event. And the event here is the click event. And what is the second argument? That's right, it's the callback function. So I'm just going to use arrow syntax once again. And there's our arrow function. That whole second argument is our callback. Don't get intimidated. That's all it is. It's just a function that's going to be executed when that event happens. And remember what we were saying? That this callback function automatically has the event data. Let me show you what I mean. We can just pass in the event, or let's just call it data. And then of course what we can do is we can just console log out this data. This variable that I'm putting in here, this data, is given to us automatically. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it A, you can call it B, you can call it C. We've just happened to call it data. Whatever variable we define in there, that's given to us automatically by the callback function when that event is fired. So let me show you what I mean. Let's just save this. Let's go to our browser. Let's inspect this. Let's refresh. So here we go. We've got our page. Callbacks are awesome. That's our h1 tag. Let's go to our console. If I click this h1, what do you think is going to happen? Well, firstly, the click event will be fired. And then secondly, we've said to console log the data that we get from the callback. So we should see the console log of that data. If I click that, there we go. You can see here that the data we get is this mouse event. We know that the click event occurs from the mouse. And you can open this up and we've got a whole lot of properties and methods. How awesome is that? And within this mouse event, we've got this property called target. And remember, the target was the actual element that fired the event itself. In this case, the target is the h1 tag. So there we go. How cool is this? And just remember, when we are using this callback function, we get given a whole lot of data about the actual event itself automatically. So it gives us a lot of power, a lot of flexibility as programmers, because we have more information. Hope it's starting to make sense. But enough said, let's move on.